Welcome back, everyone. It's been a while since I've taken a look at a good settlement city builder, but this one seems like a lot of fun. It's called Farthest Frontier. I've watched a couple of other YouTubers play it. I decided to give it a go myself. It seems like it's kind of a cross between Age of Empires and Banished, or any of a number of other settlement builders, but it seems like a lot of fun. It's got all the elements you want in a good settlement builder. There's resource management, there's health and education, but there's also the element of raiding and combat and building towers and walls and weapons and all of that fun stuff. So it seems like it's got the perfect balance of all of those. So we're gonna dive in, give it a go, and see what happens. Now, as with all city builders, one of the things I find is that I need to play through the game several times before I really get a sense of how I should build, because once you lay out your town, you're kind of stuck in that direction. A lot of times, as you get further into the game, you learn some things that you wish you would have applied early on. So I'm sure that's going to happen. I'm sure I'm going to make mistakes. But we're going to have fun doing it anyway. Give you a first look at this game. I think it's $29.99 US dollars in early access on Steam right now. But though it's early access, it seems like it's got a lot of features available. So I want to be near resources. So there's clay deposits. There's some food here. We don't have any water. So that means we're not going to be able to do fishing. So we're going to have to rely pretty heavily on other food sources like farming, foraging, hunting, which are not always real consistent ways to get food. But let's find a good spot that's got trees as well. Seems like maybe up here in the north has some pretty good spots. So I think I might go in this area. I'm trying to find, okay, there's a clay deposit too. There's stone. All right, this seems like a pretty good spot. I'm going to build our town center first, and you actually have to go ahead and collect resources to actually build your town center. And before you build your town, or before you can build anything else really, you got to build your town center. Things go pretty fast, the seasons, but one of the things I love about this is the farming, and you'll see it once we get that far, because you actually can rotate crops. It's really, really cool. So I'm going to hit the H button, which allows me to just tell it to start kind of collecting anything in this area here. So we're going to kind of clear this area as best we can. I'm immediately going to start up some of the initial things we need. Can't really build much of anything until we build the town center, but we are able to build a well. We are able to build a firewood splitter. I'm not too worried about that yet, but I am going to start building a crop field, because it takes a while to get the crop field cleared and ready for crops. In fact, the first year I doubt we'll even be able to get any crops. Fertility's pretty good here. I'm looking for a decent soil mixture too, and it looks like we've got that in this area here. So I'm going to build the crop field. I don't want to make it too big because it'll take too long to clear it. Once we clear it, we'll build a fence around it, and then we'll start picking our crops. So we've completed our town center. One of the things that you'll find too is that each one of the buildings that you have, it basically gives you all kinds of great information. You can say the same thing for your villagers. You can look at all your villager professions right here. You can assign a certain number of each of those things based on how many you're able to have. So if you're having trouble with having enough villagers to cover all the jobs, you can manage that a little bit. You can see how much you have in terms of resources right here. You can look at your villagers' overall happiness and what's affecting that. So right now, they're all unhappy because they need shelter, which we weren't able to build until that was done. So let's go ahead and start. No, not a hunter cabin, though. Actually, we do need a hunter cabin. And here's what's cool too. When you place a building, see where it says hunting, it shows you in the area where you're building that what is available as far as the resources that is designed to go after. So this one here has a little bit in the way of animals that are available to be hunted, but not much. It's really, there's not really anywhere good to hunt. And you can explore, you can set exploration points like this. So I can place a flag in these different areas, and that'll help me to explore out a little further so I can see more of the territory in case I need to put more hunters, things like that. Let's take a look then at foragers, because we don't have any fishing available. Now foraging looks like it's good. Like there's some good spots to do some foraging. So we'll definitely do that. We'll put one there. Let's see, not as much over in this area here. So there's some there. All right, we'll put a forager right there. I think that'll at least get us started while we finish up the farming field. Now, another thing we need to build here is, let's go down to walls and roads. And we're going to build a fence around this. We could do field stone wall, and you can see which one, what it does, and also look at desirability, because desirability impacts the areas where people live, and certain things have a negative impact. If I make something that is going to make compost, for example, to make fertilizer, obviously that's not desirable to live around, and that affects the desirability of the land. So I'm going to build a fence gate right here. And then we're going to go ahead and build a fence around this, because you will get predators or animals that kind of like to stomp on your land and will mess up your crops. These stones are in the way, but I guess that's not a huge deal. If anything, that just means that we're not going to be able to, or the animals aren't going to be able to get in anyway, so. So here you can see the desirability of the land, and it gives you a percentage based on a number of factors. Right now, nothing's too crazy desirable, just because, well, I mean, we haven't really built anything yet. We're going to build our houses right in here. I'm going to get a well, because obviously these people are going to want water. We also are going to need a graveyard at some point, so let's just go ahead and put a small graveyard in somewhere. Now let's go to resources. Get our basic well. We'll put it right in here near all these houses. And you can prioritize buildings too. So if you want to say, okay, build me this house first, let's prioritize that. And all of our builders will start working on that. We are going to need firewood. You can see things move pretty quickly through the seasons. We're waiting on obstructions to be cleared over here at the farm before that'll be built. There we go. We got to clear all that stuff out. All right, firewood splitter. We're going to need him somewhere. Let's go ahead and put him up here in the woods somewhere like that. Okay, so anytime we build a building, like say a firewood splitter, you can see here that you can actually have 2 people working on that. So if we need to really ramp up our firewood production, we could add a second worker to that. Also, very cool feature, you can actually look at each of your villagers and get information about them. We can see what his occupation is, what his status is, how old he is, whether or not he has an education, if he has any ailments, what his situation is as far as clothing, tools, food, what he's carrying, if anything, his diet, his warmth, his happiness, and what's impacting that, and his health. So all really cool stuff. It's just a lot of fun to be able to look at all that different information and get a sense of what's happening in your village. And as with any of these kinds of games, the more you build, the more you upgrade, the more complicated things get as you have to manage more and more things. And we can turn this into a pretty high-end city later on in the game. And you can see here that certain things are required to upgrade. So right now there's a lot of things that aren't even available at different tiers, and those tiers require certain upgrades. So tier 2 gets unlocked based on certain things, and you can see the requirements. For example, if I want a work camp who will continuously harvest wood and stone, I need a stockyard and I need a wagon shop. If I want a clay pit, I need a tier 2 town center and a wagon shop. So that gives you a sense. And in order to upgrade our town center to tier 2, we can see that we need 40 wood planks, 25 stone, as well as 8 shelters built, a market built, and 30 in our population. So a lot of different things are required there. All right, so one of the other things you'll see is that once all the work is done, say on a building, say you need resources, say you need 20 planks to build something. Once all the materials are on site, then you turn into the amount of labor that is needed to complete that project. And you can see this farmland takes a ton of labor, which is why it's not going to be done this season. It's going to be year 2 before we're able to plant any crops. So there's a lot of labor going into that right now. We're still waiting on the required resources to build the rest of our houses. I really want these people to stop working on this. So we're going to turn off construction on the crop field site because they're just going to pour a ton of hours into that while we desperately need them to be completing these houses because we're into autumn already and we don't have enough housing for the 12 villagers we currently have. So we've got to complete at least 2 more of these houses and do so quickly. So more people await word to join your settlement. Amass a 4-month food supply and 6 houses in order to do that. So here's our food stores, and it's shown in number of months of food that you have. And you can see here months of food. Out of the 4 that we have, 1 will be lost to spoilage over the next 12 months. There's a lot of ways you can keep food from spoiling. You can build, for example, let's take a look. You'll see some of the things you're able to build. Food or storage, let's take a look at that. Eventually you can build a storehouse, a root cellar. You can build a smokehouse that can smoke meats and fish so that you can keep them longer. So those are a lot of just the available options that you have. Let's put in a stockyard right here. That's going to enable other new buildings. We're about to hit our first winter. We don't have a lot of extra food. Hopefully our foragers can collect what we need to get through. We also are not getting much in the way of firewood, and I don't know why our firewood splitter is unable to work, except maybe do we need to designate more areas? What's the deal here? We don't have any logs. I guess that's why. We need people to start cutting down logs, and we haven't completed all of our other building projects. So if we stop all of our buildings and instead work solely on cutting down logs, prioritize that, then maybe we'll start getting our firewood. There we go. Now they're going to start cutting firewood just in time because we're hitting winter and people are going to start freezing. So you do occasionally get predators, and in this case, looks like we took care of said predator with little issue, but occasionally they will cause real problems for you, and they can even kill some of your villagers. So food stocks are low again. That was a dire wolf. Oh, very cool. You can see the graphics. They're just really cool. I mean, you really just get immersed in the landscape, I think. Right now we're working on our farmland. We really want to get this going so that we can plant crops this season. We're going to need the food. We're so close on food, and especially as more people join the village, we're going to continue to have that problem. So we're building our fence right now, and you can see we still need 1,800 in terms of the labor that is required to clear this field and actually make it usable. So I'm going to prioritize this so that everybody starts working on it. Hopefully we get some more villagers over there working on it quicker. We did build our stockyard, and once you build the stockyard, that allows you to build a storehouse and a root cellar. But I'm not going to queue up any more building projects till we complete these 2 houses and complete the farm, because you can see we're still coming up short on logs because we just don't have the people to be able to put in the labor that we need right now. We're going to get well into mid-spring before this is even done. And that's a problem. I really want to get that food going this year. Alright, so it doesn't look like the farmland's going to be ready this year. That's okay. We'll be ready to start fresh the next year. It seems like our foragers are keeping up so far. 7 people emigrating to our village. We're now up to 20, but that's going to help a lot with labor, which has been a bit of a concern thus far. So let's go ahead and get a saw pit going. Now that does hurt desirability a little bit, so we want to keep it away from where our people are. But saw pit's going to allow us to start making planks, which is going to be needed for a lot of things. We do need a market now, so let's go ahead and go to amenities and services. We need a saw pit before we can have a market. So I like a lot that it won't let you build something that you don't have the ability to build. So in other words, anything that's going to require planks requires you to have a saw pit first, rather than just kind of letting you build things and then finding out afterwards, oh man, I didn't have the resources to be able to build this product. So I like that feature a lot. So we're going to go ahead, I think, and queue up a little more housing here, just because I think we're going to get to the place where more people are going to start coming in. We've got a decent amount of logs built up now. We've got plenty of firewood. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and fire one of our firewood splitters because we don't need them at the moment. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start putting in some roads, and the only thing roads require is manpower. Doesn't cost you anything other than that. Make things a little faster for our villagers. Plus it keeps everybody busy as we're doing other things. And it just looks really cool. They knock it off pretty fast. The roads only require, I think, a little bit of manpower to put in dirt roads anyway. All right, we're working on a root cellar over here, which is going to increase the amount of time that we can store crops, which we're going to start putting in next year. We're getting into winter now. We're working on our storehouse up here. We're going to keep it in this area near where some of our other stuff's happening. Crops ready for assignment. So we've completed that. It's obviously not going to happen this year, but let's go ahead and take a look. So here's where you add crops. You can have a 3-year crop rotation. You can see the yield factors: fertility, the weed level, the rockiness. So in doing your crops, you see the length of these. So the longer ones means it takes longer in the rotation. You can see what time period you have available to you. You can't do anything in the winter. And in that rotation, you can set them up to do field maintenance to reduce weed levels, remove rocks, which obviously are a factor. You can plant clovers, which are going to restore fertility to the land. You can't just keep planting the same thing all the time. It'll take all the nutrients out of the land. So I want to start with something that has a good tolerance to heat and frost, has a rockiness resistance. It's pretty good all the way around, and that is cabbage. So it's a good place to start, I think. It's going to give us some crops right off the bat. I'm actually going to try to do 2 crops that first year, just because you see we've got the space to do that. Year 2, actually I wonder if we can put in maintenance. No, we can't put it there. So year 2, we're going to start with some maintenance. I think we'll do a quick crop like turnips, and then we'll do clovers to restore some fertility. And then how about wheat in year 3? We're going to have to see how all this kind of works out. We might have to change some things around. You can also balance by adding sand or adding clay to kind of get the mixture the way you want it to. I admit I'm not a farmer, so I don't understand all of that, but we're going to get a lesson. Going to work on flattening some terrain right here. I started in this corner, so we're going to flatten it all to this level because now that we've completed our storehouse, we can build a market. And the market you want to have close. Oh, we're out of food. That's a problem. You want to have it close to where the people are living because it increases desirability. And in order to be able to upgrade housing, you have to have at least a 30% desirability bonus. And the market's one of the ways that you can do that. So it's year 3. You can see our farmland, how miserably full of weeds it is. Hopefully they're able to clear the weeds as they plant, or I guess the weeds are just going to really choke out. Yeah, it looks like they're going to do some maintenance here first, so that'll help with the yield. Looks like we're going to get a decent yield from our cabbage the first year. As soon as this gets flattened right here, we're going to put our market in. You can see how that improves desirability on this housing, which is what we're after. They should be pretty close now. I could probably build this first, but I'll just go ahead and let them finish flattening the land first. That'll get us up to 20%. I think after we build the market, we'll be able to upgrade the town center to tier 2. Which is going to unlock all kinds of new stuff. Dang. Alright, we're almost there. That's the manpower. Oh, come on, you were so close. Don't walk away now. Villager stricken with dehydration. Is our well not getting it done? It looks like it's good. Where is this person? Okay, they're kind of out on the fringes, and that might have something to do with why they're dealing with dehydration. So how about we get them a well. out here, just so they don't have to go so far for water. We'll prioritize that construction. Our market is complete. We're building a couple more wells because we're still having an issue with dehydration on some of the fringe areas that are out further from the village. We are getting close though. All we need now is 30 villagers. We used up all of our planks building our market. I was going to say we were really close on the number of planks that we had, but not so much anymore. So where is, there it is right here, our saw pit. We could actually get 2 more people working on that project, so we've got a ton of firewood right now. So much so that I'm thinking I might actually tell our firewood guy to stop making firewood for a little while, work on some other projects. Alright, so the farmland's looking a little better now. We're working on, is that turnips? Yep, we're working on turnips, and then we're going to go to clovers to kind of give some new health to the field. So far, so good. We now have the ability, oh, somebody just died. Oh, from dehydration. Our forager. So that's our first death. They're going to have a burial in the cemetery. We can now build cobblers to make shoes. We can make a basket shop, which increases efficiency, allowing them to carry more. We can make a tannery. Of course, tannery, reading the autobiography of Ulysses S. Grant, he grew up in a tannery, and he talked about how it made him sick. So it's not a desirable place to live at all. So we're going to put that away from the village somewhere. We need to get some more people. We need to get up to 30. We also want to build, I think the next thing I want to make is the basket shop. Now that shouldn't hurt desirability at all, so we'll keep that a little closer to town. As the ground begins to thaw, we enter year 4. We now have 28 villagers. We've had a couple of babies born. We've also had some immigration. Once we hit 30, we have everything we need to upgrade Jamestown. That's what I'm calling it. Yeah, I know, boring. Our town center. So as soon as we get those new villagers, I imagine we'll get them very, very soon here. I just completed a smokehouse, so that's going to help with keeping the meat from spoiling quite so fast. We don't actually have to worry about producing fish right now because we just don't have any. Eventually maybe we'll explore and we'll find some water somewhere, but we just don't have it right now. But everything's going pretty well. We're collecting gold through our market, and eventually I would guess we're probably going to need that gold to be able to trade or to be able to build certain things, stuff like that. But clearing out a lot of land right now and just waiting on the ability to upgrade. I think we've built pretty much everything that we can at the moment. This lightning, while it seems harmless, I've had it strike. There it is. Oh my gosh, as soon as I said it, it happened. Lightning struck one of our buildings. And you can see all the villagers will very quickly run to the well, which is conveniently close, and get water to start putting it out, and it will spread. Now 2 houses are on fire. As long as we get it put out before it's too late, we're good. Otherwise, you can just very easily click on rebuild, and all you got to do is just kind of go and get new resources. You don't have to demolish it and re-queue the building. It's pretty simple to rebuild things that have been destroyed. All right, anyway, let's go back to building. I think we have all of that. Resources. We don't have a compost yard yet. I don't think we have a basket shop yet. Oh yeah, we do. It's right here. So there's our basket shop. We could actually queue another person up, but we require willow for baskets, and we don't have willow at the moment. So probably not a lot of reason to have the basket shop at the moment, unless they're able to find some willow somewhere. All right, we got a bear running loose here, and it actually caused some damage to one of my buildings, so that's even worse. Is he running away now? That's right, run away, bear, run away. We're at 29. We need one more villager. The problem is right now we were down a little low on food, but we're getting back up there now. I'm putting in a second farm. This one's going to have a stone fence around it just because I thought it'd be cool to see a stone fence around the farm. So slightly smaller than the last one, but I want to improve my food production as our village grows. So 2 more villagers have immigrated, and you can see we actually get a symbol right on the top that shows us this building is ready to be upgraded. So it's going to take 40 planks and 25 stone to make that happen. It's winter, we got nothing better to do anyway, so all of our villagers are immediately going to get to work making that happen. We got a nice amount of planks built up, which is good because we're going to need those planks for a lot of other projects that are going to be coming available as soon as this is done. I'm a little worried about the food situation. We'd be in a lot better shape food-wise if we could just do some fishing, but we just don't have any water available. So I'm going to go do some more exploring just to see if maybe there's something out here, but we're getting really far away from our village at that point. New things available: we can make a windmill, a bakery, an arborist building, so that'll allow us to maintain fruit trees. Let's take a look. In order to get a tier 2, which is a temporary shelter, that'll allow people to work farther from their residence. Let's see, what else can we get? We can get a healer's house, a trading post. That allows us to trade with visiting merchants. Perfect, that will really come in handy. A school to provide education, which boosts work rate for villagers. A rat catcher to keep rodents under control. In terms of food production, we already looked at that. What about resources? An apiary, we can keep beehives now. Potter, we can get a weaver, a candle shop, an armory, a charcoal kiln, a soap shop, all kinds of new stuff. We can now build a barracks, which costs 8 per month, which would be pretty much all the gold we're making right now, but would provide defense, which would be important. Cobbled road, palisade gates, palisade walls are now available, as well as decorations like trees. Okay, a lot to do. Before we can build a lot of those buildings, though, we need a wagon shop. There's also granaries that are available. Makes it difficult for pests to steal food, so we're going to put that, I think, right over here in between the 2 farm fields. A cooper can make barrels. That helps with storing items. A vault for the town's gold. Wagon shop, though, is the #1 priority at the moment. Well, there's a problem that I thought I only had to deal with in Oregon Trail. We've got a villager stricken with dysentery. That's a problem. That comes from bad water. Boy, okay. So we're going to need a healer, I think, to deal with that. Where is that exactly? Amenities and services, I would guess. Healer's house costs 30 monthly. We can't afford that. All right. I'm sorry to say, Everett, you're only 20 years old. Not a lot I can do for you right now, except maybe build another well to give you some clean water out there. Now with a wagon shop, we can make mines. Let's start with a clay pit. There's actually clay right here, but I think it might be too close to my farm. I kind of screwed up in building that farm in that spot. There is, however, a clay pit right here. So we'll be able to go ahead and build that one. How about gold mine? That'd be really nice to have. Are there any gold stores, though? There's more clay over here. I haven't really seen any gold. What do we have out here? That's a bird's nest. Don't have a lot in the way of iron, gold, things like that. That's a problem. Well, Everett died from dysentery. We kind of expected that. We still have 30 villagers. We're almost done with our new farmland. Building a trading post now, which is going to allow us to, and that actually costs 35 wood planks, 10 stone. It's going to allow us to start trading for some resources, which I think will be really helpful moving forward. We're getting low on planks, so we got to be careful of that. We've got plenty of wood, plenty of logs and firewood. We do have 4 people working full time on the saw pit, though. Here's our report for the last 12 months. So this is pretty cool that you can do this. You can see what you've produced and consumed. Proteins, grains, vegetables, fruit, and dairy. Obviously, we have a real dairy issue that we've got to deal with, as well as grains. So we're going to need to work on that some. Usable goods, armaments. There's our population, what has happened with the various things. So a lot of great information available to you. I think as soon as we get our trading post built, we'll see what's available to trade for. And then we'll probably wrap up this first episode. I think we've gotten pretty far, but there's a long, long way to go. We've got a heat wave coming in. That's not ideal. But we're just hanging on by a thread as far as food goes. You can see we're constantly just always a month or two away from starvation. So trying to stay ahead on that as much as I can. All right, let's take a look at the trading post. We can see what we can transfer as far as items that we have in our inventory that can be purchased from the global stock versus what we can sell. We would have to transfer stuff to the trader in order to be able to do that. So things like weapons, for example, that we just don't have right now. So we could see, okay, let's transfer from our global inventory into our inventory. So if we transfer 2, what's that going to cost us? I guess we have to offer a price. I guess we'll see. The item is being stocked. So probably when it comes, we'll probably find out. Oh, we have to add gold to the trading post in order to make that happen. So interesting. Let's go ahead and send some gold over to the trading post so that they're able to do that. All right, looks like it. We got the trader coming. You can see the cart coming in. We could actually go to real-time speed, and then you can see how slow it really goes. This is so cool. I love going in at this level because it just looks really good. This game looks so cool, and it really feels like you're in the village because of all just the little details that really immerse you in this. Here's our wagon maker over here. It's such cool stuff. Here's our cemetery. We've got 2 people buried in the cemetery now. Looks like they're over on this end. All right, let's go ahead and speed things up a little bit. Get our trader in there and see what it's going to cost to buy a few weapons. Okay, so there's, I guess these are the items that they brought with them because we can request certain things and then it tells us what the cost will be. So we could buy some, what do we want? Pelts. I'm not really sure we need much of anything at the moment. Let's buy a few of them though, just because I don't think I'm producing a lot so far. How about we buy 3? I'm not sure I can do that right now. Anyway, I don't really need to. We've got plenty of everything. Everybody's pretty happy other than the heat wave at the moment. Looks like soap is a necessity at the moment that is hurting us. They're all wearing shoes. They're all well dressed. They enjoy quality family life. Birth rate's not as high as we wish it would be. But I think right now one of the things that they're not happy about is the stock of soap. So cleanliness is an issue. We need clean villagers. But let me know your thoughts. Use the comment section below. If any of you have played this, if you have any tips or helpful hints, certainly welcome those things. As I mentioned, I believe the game is $29.99 US on Steam. It is in early access, but it's a pretty well complete game. I'm sure they're going to be adding new features, but so far so good. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.